Nah, don't pamper you, yeah, you better than this. Oh, I can't lie, I treat you better than him. Falling for me is what you should have been did. Don't pamper you, yeah, you better than this.
No cussing.
No swear
Now
words,
we can
please.
start talking. Oh.
No cuss. How would you mean? No cuss words. No talking whatever crazy. Ibrahim.
Just bleep it out.
I'm so in love with you. Whatever you want to do is all right with me. 'Cause you make me feel so brand new. I want to spend my life with you.
Welcome back to the Panther Pride Podcast. I am one of your hosts today. My name is Terrence Harris. Today we have two more extra hosts.
Therrell Fudge.
Ibrahim Berry.
And today we have a very special guest with us.
Miss Stephanie Jones, a.k.a. Senora Jones.
Let's welcome her to the podcast, you guys. You know what I'm saying?
Y'all hear the crowd? I know. Star quality.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Welcome her to the building.
Thank you. Really? Dang. Like, yeah.
I didn't even mean to go that way.
Thanks
All
a
right.
lot.
Know what I'm saying? Let's get this started.
Today's topic, gun violence.
Oh.
Woo. Yeah.
Ibrahim, why the sarcasm?
It's funny.
It's gun violence.
Okay.
It's funny. That
All
scares
right.
me.
All right. Ibrahim.
Just slightly.
I'll start off with the first question. Actually, how are you doing today?
I'm well. Thanks for asking. How about you?
I'm good. I'm tired.
You know, I was, and then these wonderful, wonderful young adults approached me about a podcast, and I was like, well, why not? Not why. And so I guess the tired, aka the fatigue, left. So now I'm not.
That is good to hear.
That is great to hear.
Listen, what is up? So this co-host of yours, like, there's just this hint, like Chattahoochee cocktail with a hint of sarcasm. Like,
Ibrahim, chill with the sarcasm, dog.
I don't think he can.
It's just his nature.
That's a part of his personality.
Right. He would not be Ibrahim
Without the sarcasm.
and I would be concerned. So keep up the great work, Ibrahim.
Okay.
All right. All right. First question. How do you feel about gun violence in our community?
I love it. No.
Wait, what?
No. I just want to make sure that people are listening. You know, somebody was like, oh, yeah, whatever.
Yeah,
No.
keep it entertaining.
No, it's actually very troubling. I often talk to my students about, you know, the things that they have to endure on a social perspective just because I didn't have to, like, when I was your age, I didn't have to think about losing peers, let alone, you know, younger family members or, I don't know, just, it's crazy to me that we've gotten to the point now where there is no such thing as talking matters out. Dare I say there is no such thing as boxing or fighting matters out. Everything now is just, let's resort to gun use. Let's just let, as they would say, our blickies settle it.
I agree. Honestly, the stress that having to understand and actually accept that society probably won't change for a while in terms of gun and how guns are handled, and towards how students have to bear with that and the stress it places on them is really concerning in a sense. Along with like how the guns in general and like the concept of a gun places like a lot of weight on students in like general.
I agree with both of you, if you don't mind me, you know what I'm saying, going ahead. I agree with both of you. gun violence, it's really scary, especially as a young black adult trying to, make it where I want to. I feel like the fact that people like our age have to worry about it is very concerning, and it makes me worry about what if I wasn't where I was? What if I'm in the wrong place at the wrong time? Because I've had some people, like very close people, who've experienced wrong place, wrong time accidents. And it's really detrimental to how you like operate, how you're able to operate. For example, my dad, he was in an accident where he was at a park and they got to shooting. He ended up getting shot in both of his knees and one shattering. So now he has a metal bar in his leg, and the other one kind of fractured. He can walk now, but like, Lord forbid anything worse happened. So it's very concerning for me to be like, because I know I go out. I'm a homebody, but I go out. What if I'm in a wrong place? What if I'm at the store and something ridiculous happens? What if I'm, just walking, chilling out, hanging with some friends? Somebody get to acting crazy. What do I do? How do I respond? Yeah.
Yeah, it's very concerning because like earlier, one of my friends, they was talking about how at their job, some dude came through the back and he pulled a gun out on her. So it's like, wow, she could have died, and we wouldn't even have saw her earlier.
And not to digress, but let's just think about the implications and ramifications of all of this. Kind of like what Terrence was talking about now having to be way more vigilant than you ever had to be. And like thinking maybe from a mental health capacity, dare I say that you guys probably deal with PTSD more than you know, and more than is recorded, and more than really the adults in your lives know. Because PTSD is a real thing. And it's not just PTSD from the perspective of the victim or the victor, the person who was able to overcome possibly one of these tragedies, but also PTSD from the perpetrator. Because, yes, some of the gun violence is at the hands of adults, but more and more prevalent nowadays is gun violence at the hands of other young people. And, I don't think that young people know, especially considering how like brazen it is nowadays. Young people don't really give thought. If you're not giving thought to who's in the immediate environment because you have a target and you're so, focused on hitting your target per se, you're not giving thought that there are children in the environment, there are other innocent bystanders in the environment. But let's just say you hit your target. It's almost like gun violence. I can equate it to like video games. And I was having a conversation with my mom and some older people about, how prevalent violence period is in our society. Social media, video games, television, if we're talking about what's going to give us ratings, and it's a lot less censored than it was when I was matriculating. Yeah. So you guys deal with things, and like I said, the PTSD and the mental health ramifications, I don't think we give enough energy to.
Following up on that on that statement about how it's usually younger people, like kind of inflicting the, crime and the violence with guns. What do you think sparks that mindset, like sparks that behavior in them? Because I feel like it's partially environment, but I grew up in a space where that was around, but I didn't succumb to that environment. So I feel like it's more how you react to that environment than how that environment reacts with you.
So I think there are multiple factors. Definitely, we know nature versus nurture, and the environment plays a huge role. But let's just talk a little bit of science, and I often tell my students this too. Your frontal lobe, which is where you get impulse control, this is where logic and analysis really is honed or comes in as far as talking about your brain and brain development. But your frontal lobe isn't finished developing until 25, which means everything you do, well, not everything, but a lot of choices that are made are based on your impulse and how you feel. I'll give you an example. I had a student come into my class today, and it was my planning period, so of course I didn't have a class. And she goes, "Yeah, can I stay in here? We don't want to go to class." What class do you have? We have gym. They're going to make us run, and we just don't want to be in there. And so I feel like a lot of times with younger people, especially under the age of 25, it's a whole bunch of this is what I want versus what I don't want. And that's that impulse thing. So I do what I want, not I'm going to think about the ramifications, not I'm going to think about cause and effect, but this is just how I feel right now. And so I feel like this person disrespected me because they looked at me a certain way, which, started me or provoked me to say, what are you looking at? And that turns into, what are you looking at? And mind your business and a whole bunch of other crazy stuff. And the next thing you know, we're displaying and or shooting guns because it started as something really minute, but it has everything to do with your impulse. And again, in addition to your environment, and I'm sure there are other things that we could go on and on about.
I also think that another reason is partly due to like the concept of a gun itself. It acts as an enabler, and it's really because of how a gun functions and its physical mechanics that I feel like people are so comfortable with doing these things that they are doing in terms of violence. You've seen it throughout history time and time again. If you can deal effective damage at a long range, then it's obviously the better choice, and that's what guns exactly do. People understand that guns hold this much power, and a lot of people are products of their environment and how they react to it, like Terrence said. And I feel like a combination of the two sparks them to commit these atrocities and stuff.
I would be happy to run in gym because last year in gym, all we did was walk for 5 minutes and sit down.
Jarrell, that was completely off topic.
I know.
I love it. No,
I wanted to
like-
stay
Okay,
earlier.
okay.
I love it. It's like, is that what we got from that? Okay, I love it.
That's definitely the takeaway, guys.
We gotta break the serious tone.
I know,
once in a
right?
while.
Yeah. What things have changed from when you were growing up in our community that have increased the rates of violence?
Wow. So many different things.
Try to speak on at least like two big ones.
So again, so I'm a very reflective person. I be profile.
Yes.
Reflective. I'm a reflective person, and I didn't know at a young age, and I promise this has a point, but I didn't know at a young age that I was really a social scientist or a scientist. I am what I like to call a pathologist. So I look at things and I find a pattern. And then once I find the pattern, then it's my job to go back and ask, why does this pattern exist? And so it's funny that you asked me that question because I'm often, given the space that I'm privileged to be in, being an educator, I often try to tap into the neuroscience of, this generation, how you think, why you think this way, how is it different? Why might it look like this for me and now it looks like this for you guys? And so to answer your question, I know this entity, for lack of better terms, gets a bad rep, but social media plays a huge role into how we have evolved. It has, or technology.
I completely agree.
It has played a huge role. I'll give you an example. My friends and I often joke, and I don't know if this is good or bad, but we often joke about, hey, we would be in trouble if cell phones and technology and social media existed back when we were coming up and matriculating, because you guys have something where it's almost like you're constantly on. You constantly have to be on. You're constantly looking to see who's watching you. We didn't have to really worry about that. And with social media, you also have this thing about because somebody's constantly watching me, I don't always necessarily get to live my 1000% transparent self because I'm putting on, as some people would say, like you're putting on for the gram or you're putting on for TikTok, you're putting on, you flexing and you flossing and you flashing. We didn't have to necessarily. There were spaces where we could get out and not have to worry about who's looking and literally let our hair down and be unequivocally 1000% ourselves, like unfiltered, unabridged. And I don't think this generation has that privilege. Unfortunately, I think technology is a gift, of course, because we're able to be presenting right now, but it can be a curse and we see things on technology or we grow up watching technology where you have parents who, because I'm so busy or because I've got this going on, I'm going to give this device to this child and this is going to entertain them. And there begins the process of sowing a seed where I'm watching this and I'm seeing this violence play out. And see, we had that when I was growing up too, to an extent. It was called wrestling. We did. But I'm going to tell you the caveat that every grown-up told a young person when they were watching a box with people throwing people around. TV is not real. It's fake. What you're watching is fake. We don't have enough of telling people that what we're viewing on social media, on television, is not real. It is not authentic. You cannot live your life like this 25/8. And for those of you who don't know what 25/8 is, that's an additional hour and an additional day. So instead of 24 hours, it's 25. Instead of 7 days, it's 8. You can't live your life like that. These stars that we look up to are not real. That's not them being authentic. And you're just flooded with these images with, oh, you go for that? Oh, you go? That's instigation, you know? And that's what you're fed on a daily basis. And what keeps our attention? Oh, when such and such popped such and such. By the way, there was my fist in my hand. But yeah, when you see somebody fighting it, like it floods us and we feed. And I always say, whatever you feed gets bigger. So if that's the image that you're being fed, then guess what? You're going to develop an appetite for it. And the more you feed it, the bigger it gets. It's like a black hole. It's the same concept. So I think media is one facet. And again, for me coming back up, you just didn't see a lot of, not just gun violence, you didn't just see a lot of violence. You didn't. Yes, there were fights at my school. Yes, there were fights in the neighborhood. I don't think there was a fight in my neighborhood, now that I think about it. The most violence I saw in my neighborhood was somebody running into a mailbox on a bicycle. Bloody as it got on my street. And it's funny, I'm actually back in my old neighborhood, and it has changed tremendously. What has changed about it, though, outsiders, people who are not from Atlanta, and that's no offense to anybody who's a transplant, but people who are not from Atlanta or not from Georgia, who don't necessarily have the same cultural values that we have, that has also changed in the neighborhood, and we're looking at the results of it now.
Like you were saying, for social media, I feel like me as a person, I'm really I'm barely on social media, and I feel like it inflicts me because I don't usually kids will joke around. Oh, you this and this, you this and that. Oh, you go? Me personally, I wouldn't take that. I'd be like, bro, it's never that serious. Like, I can be chilling. Somebody will say something. Okay, forget about it. It's never that serious. If you was really about it, then you was really about it. I'm not finna, play with you and entertain you because that's what you want. Some entertainment. But me, I feel like I really I'm never on Instagram.
Okay, so that's you. Can you see from the other side, or what is your take? Like, if you could change seats and change perspectives, what's your take on it? Why do you feel like we succumb to that? So you don't succumb to that, but why do you feel like we do?
it's like you were saying, impulse. People base their like their decisions, their description on other people. It's basically a reflection. They see all these social media stars, all these people doing this, and this. Oh, I'm gonna do this, and this. I'm gonna be cool. I'm gonna get famous. The gun, like violence. Oh, I see these people gang banging. I'm gonna do it. It seems like a trend now. It's becoming a trend now. So I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna try it. What could be the worst that could happen? They don't really think about it. People make choices without thinking. I mean, I've made some choices, but like none like too detrimental. But like it's just people's nature, I guess.
Ooh, I've got a question for everybody in here. So we talked about social media, and I didn't say this enough. But what type of music does everybody listen to in here? Because I did not say this enough about how music, which is an extension of media, also is a contributing factor.
That's what I was going to talk about next.
You can
About
go
how
first then.
About how they be talking about killing people in the songs, and then people be listening to this. Oh, it's hard, and then now they want to go and kill some people, and be that dude rapping in the music video.
And going off of what like Jarrell said, in social media, it's a like the whole existence of the internet is so convoluted and so nuanced that you can't really discern like social media as the one and only cause to it. It's the people who inhabit the social media. So like these stars and stuff, people establish like these parasocial relationships. Oh, this guy's my friend, or like, oh, I know this guy. And they think it's like a personal level, and they look up to them as a role model. And you see all these rappers and stuff who commit to like atrocities and stuff, and other musicians, and it's like, do you really want to look up to this person? Like for example, YNW Melly, he's facing the death sentence. He killed 2 of his friends and tried to stage it as a drive-by, and it's so convoluted in it as a case. But then he wants to go on social media and like talk about how he's getting treated horribly there, and it's like I understand the whole concept of guilty and innocent until proven guilty, but it's like you're still being suspected for killing 2 people, and it's like you're facing the death penalty. So it's like, can you really complain? And like these parasocial relationships just lead to people just going on and on about certain things, and you see all over social media how people post pictures and stuff. And I'm not the type of person on social media to do stuff like that. I barely post pictures. I'll hop on social media to crack a joke or 2 and then just hop off and forget about it.
Lurker.
Precisely, a lurker. Like I'll post something funny or some on like the Instagram story, and then I'll just forget about it weeks later. And I feel like that's a flaw with me and a lot of other people in our generation. They just don't think about
What they post.
the digital footprint. Yeah,
Yeah.
because nothing on the internet is ever deleted. I'm gonna keep it honest with you. There's not like, if I wanted to, I could pull up messages from someone from ages ago. If you just know slightly a little about the internet, you can just pull up almost anything. There are websites that literally can revert websites back to like beta test and stuff, like the Wayback Machine. That's a website that you can enter links in, and it'll like force that website back into its older stages, and you can find information on there. It's like a entire website just made for archival purposes.
And I was about to say, the National Archives in D.C. actually holds literally everything. I remember back in 2013, we had a family reunion there, and in D.C., and one of my family members works for Howard, and he decided in the middle of our dinner that evening to have this lecture to the young people in the family. He was just admonishing them about being mindful of what they do and put on the internet, because it never gets deleted. And he said, look, the archives are here. Everything that gets posted is housed there. So, yeah, nothing gets deleted. Here's the other part of the music part that I wanted to ask you about, or just kind of interject with. A lot of people don't realize that artists, like everything else in media, are not always
The way they put themselves out.
yes.
Yeah.
And that's
yes.
I was gonna go into that. But first, I was gonna say I really like jazz because you asked what kind of music we like. I really like jazz.
Awesome.
Jazz music is great.
I think I caught that vibe right before we started. Really, Terrence is an old man, y'all. He's really an old man trapped in a kid's body. I promise.
I'm really just like 16. You know what I'm saying?
16 going on 61.
Absolutely.
60.
But yeah, like you were saying, they're not how they really project themselves. It's a front to get more boosts from like people who
A facade.
like enjoy that background. They put on this act, this, like you said, facade to show, oh, this is who I am, but this is only who I am on the internet. It's the same thing with YouTubers. They put on this facade, this fake friendships, fake relationships. They do this for views, for money, for entertainment purposes. And a lot of, like you were saying, a lot of younger people don't get the fact that it's only for entertainment purposes. And it leads to people making wrong choices based on others people's facades and decisions that they actually did not make. So I feel like music can be used as an outlet. That's how I view music, an outlet. But don't take music the wrong way. Use that music as a way to express yourself, but don't let that music consume your head into making you think that that this is the way to live or this is the way to move. This is the like we said now. This the move. This the motion. This what we got. Nah, that's not the move.
Oh, look now, like I feel like I've taken over hosting positions because now I have a follow-up question to that.
Okay.
Which then, and it's kind of a digression, but we'll come back. We're gonna, what y'all say, spin the block. We're gonna spin the block. But my question then, as it relates to music, then becomes, so as an artist, because it is an outlet, and when artists are genuine artists and they're true to their craft, they are emoting what they feel onto, I can't say an album anymore, dating myself, but they emote into their music. So my question then becomes, so does the artist have responsibility into what he or she creates?
They have
Into what they create, yes, but into what people take it, no.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a mindset. Like people can take that music the way they want to take it, just like a conversation. That's like you were saying earlier, what you looking at. See, me, I would take that as, oh, I'm not really looking at you. You just might have thought I was staring at you. I'm not really looking at you. That's how I respond. But other people, oh, what you looking at? What you trying to get at? No. It's the way you take it and the way you respond to it. We learn this legit every day.
And yeah, I agree with this completely. I'll always stand by the fact that certain aspects of life and stuff like media, humor, stuff like that, the way the author wants you to perceive it is completely objective, and like you can't disagree with how they want it to be perceived. But the way you take it yourself and the way you interpret the author's message is subjective, and people will take stuff like music and stuff and they'll take it in the wrong way. They'll, like, a lot of artists nowadays glorify this whole drug-related, gang-related, crime-related activities, and they glorify it, and people be like, oh, this is really cool, and I want to do it too. You see this a lot with social media. Like, people glorify this stuff, and then you have other people who listen to, like, stuff like indie, alt-rock, stuff like that, and it's really different. It's a really different landscape. That's why I feel like media, internet, stuff like that, anything technology-wise is very convoluted in terms of trying to pinpoint a cause for something like that. It's more of a combination. It's more of a giant, like, melting pot of reasons why someone would act the way they act in terms of, like, gun violence. And
Therrell, if you want something to say, you got something to say?
I completely agree. And to answer your question, I listen to fast rap, lyrical rap, bar heavy rap, and motivational rap.
I guess I'll answer the question too.
But I can appreciate all music.
I listen to a lot of indie rock, jazz fusion especially, and then I'm really open to stuff like EDM and stuff.
And gamer music.
But it's like, it's just obviously better than everything else.
Okay. All right. Starting
Go
to get
Sonic.
opinionated. Swinging back around to games. Games. Like online games. Online games can be very subjective to violence. Definitely gun violence, spin the block. I'm speaking on this because of 2K, Madden, GTA, let's
Call
see.
of Duty is
And I
Call
was,
of Duty
yeah,
especially.
I was thinking Call of Duty, Fortnite, and GTA.
You should see a COD lobby.
Yeah.
Holy.
especially on Xbox.
Okay. All right.
The atrocities they say in things like COD lobbies and like any video games with online chat, and like take it from me, I'm a Nintendo fanboy. I don't play.
Ibrahim, we know you play COD and we know you talk a lot of mess. You talk a lot of mess in person.
I don't talk mess on COD. I don't even play COD.
Sure.
I'm a Nintendo fanboy, but
We played COD that one time. He was saying racial slurs.
Okay.
right.
All right.
You didn't have to
We're getting
out
off
me.
topic. We're getting off
But
topic.
he started it, Gerald.
All right. I'm starting a new. You know what I'm saying?
But no,
topic.
listen. I get where you're coming from, and that was part of what I was. So that was what I was. Again, going back to the conversation I had with my mom, because we had just seen like maybe 2 or 3 stories where it wasn't just gun violence. So it wasn't just your typical run of the mill. Oh, somebody was at a gas station. They wanted somebody's car and they pulled a gun. It wasn't just one of those situations. It was actually a couple of situations with younger people. And, she had just seen me go to 2 different funerals within a 10-day span. And these both individuals were under the age of 20. And they, of course, died at the hand of gun violence. And so we were talking, and I was just telling her how much everybody is we don't really look at it because it's subconscious. It's
so commonplace in society now.
it is.
Yeah,
it's
we're
subliminal.
desensitized.
Desensitized.
I can't speak.
No, you got it. Desensitized to it, and it's partially because there are so many subliminals just literally feeding us, and it's not just social media, it's not just music. Again, it's gaming too.
It's legit everything.
It is pervasive. It's what we call ubiquitous. It is literally everywhere at all times.
And coming from someone who's really big into game design and such, video games like COD shooters and stuff, they all really put emphasis on more of the gunplay and stuff. Like, they could tell an inspiring war story, but a lot of players of COD and stuff, they jump immediately to the multiplayer, which is just a bunch of trash talking, min-maxing guns and stuff.
And trash gameplay.
Exactly.
Well, I'm sorry to say I'm guilty of not the trash talking because I've never done it online, but
The trash gameplay.
the trash game.
I can tell.
I am.
Oh, okay. This is getting kind of rude.
I thought Jarrell liked me.
And then, like,
I do.
I didn't know
I
that
don't
you had
either.
been hanging around Ibrahim this long with the trash talk
Okay.
and the jabs. Foo, foo, foo. Okay.
We are running kind of low on time. So, Ibrahim, if you have any last statements,
Gun violence is not okay.
great.
We should teach people how to deal with guns safely, and we shouldn't let them or delegate them to just having to tough it out on their own. If someone needs help, look into them. If they're your friend, please look into them.
Yeah. Jarrell,
Be true, be you, and maturity is key.
great quote. Quote by Therrell. Ms.
Well,
Jones.
actually, I stole that be true, be you, but it's fine.
Okay. Ms. Jones.
Yeah, I challenge everybody to be a little bit more reflective. Take some time. And I hate to be cliche and tell you to take a breath, but step back, take that breath.
Me, I'm going to say 2 last things. 1, thank everybody for coming. I really appreciate this podcast. This podcast was great. And I would like to say thank you to our sponsor,
Sponsors.
Mr. Davis.
Ooh, shout
Save
out
the-
to Davis.
Shout out to Mr. Davis.
He's
Let's
really
go.
rich.
He's definitely
Oh, he
not
doesn't
rich.
get a womp, womp, womp.
Yeah, he's Davis. Anyways, I would like to say sponsors. Thank you to the Save the Music Foundation and the J. Dilla Grant and all these people for supporting us and helping us do what we do. And I would like to say thank you to you guys for watching. And guess what? We out.
Thank you.
Nah, don't pamper you, yeah, you better than this. Oh, I can't lie, I treat you better than